US Patriots for Ukraine will have unimaginable result. Russian envoy, Russia's ambassador to the US, has warned that the arrival of the first Patriot surface-to-air missile system in Ukraine could have consequences, which cannot even be imagined. His comments come amid expanding American aid for Kyiv and President Volodymyr Zelensky's trip to Washington, which have rankled the Kremlin. Ambassador Anatoly Antonov said Wednesday that Zelensky's visit to the U.S., the first trip abroad by the Ukrainian leader since Moscow's invasion of his country began on February 24, showed that neither Kyiv nor Washington was serious about peace talks. These have been stalled since early in the invasion, with both sides refusing to compromise on their goals. Despite our warnings, a Patriot air defense system will be sent to Kyiv, Antonov said. Russia's state-run TASS news agency reported. However, the country does not have specialists to work with them. So, will those be American specialists? Or citizens of another NATO country? They cannot but realize here that Western weapons are being systematically destroyed by our military. I think everyone understands perfectly well what fate the personnel manning these complexes on the territory of Ukraine can face. Russia has repeatedly railed against Western weapon deliveries to Ukraine, claiming that outside military support risks escalation. Despite Moscow having received weapons from friendly nations. These include hundreds of armored vehicles from Belarus and drones from Iran. The Russian military has reportedly prioritized the destruction of high-profile Western weapons systems, including the M142 high-mobility artillery rocket system, colloquially known as the HIMARS. To date, U.S. and Ukrainian officials say no HIMARS have been destroyed despite multiple Russian claims to the contrary. Zelensky's trip to America coincides with a new $1.8 billion military package from the U.S., of which the Patriot system is one part. The system, on which Ukrainian crews will now be trained, will help Ukraine defend against Russian missile strikes that have devastated the national energy grid. Also included in the package are more munitions for Ukraine's HIMARS. 500 GPS-guided Excalibur artillery shells, anti-radiation missiles and joint direct attack munitions. Ukraine is still pushing for long-range attack drones and the HIMARS-launched MGM-140 Army Tactical Missile System, known as ATACMS, which would expand the range of Ukrainian HIMARS to 190 miles. Russian officials are crying foul, claiming that U.S. NATO diplomatic, economic and military support for Ukraine increases the danger of a wider conflagration. Something Moscow has been threatening since before its invasion began. I want to emphasize that we have repeatedly tried and are still trying to appeal to common sense at all levels, Antonov said. It was stressed that the provocative actions by the U.S. are steadily leading to an escalation, the consequences of which cannot even be imagined. Discussions about the hypothetical supply of ATACMS missiles and long-range strike UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, to Ukrainians are deeply disturbing. The tempo of fighting has slowed on much of the front in recent weeks, with both sides struggling to maintain momentum amid difficult muddy conditions and winter temperatures. Fierce fighting continues in the city of Bakhmut, and Ukrainian troops are edging forwards in the northeast. Neither side appears ready to resume peace talks, which from their inception in February were hamstrung by mistrust and espionage. Ukraine is demanding full withdrawal of all Russian troops to their pre-invasion positions before any talks can begin. Kyiv has made clear its ultimate goals of liberation of all territory occupied by Russia since 2014, reparations, war crimes trials for Russian leaders, and NATO membership. Russian President Vladimir Putin has acknowledged that a peace deal might be needed to end the fighting, but has shown no sign of downgrading his goal of regime change in Kyiv. The absorption of 4 partially occupied Ukrainian regions, to have annexed in September, and the demilitarization of Ukraine. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of mobilized Russian troops are undergoing training. The Kremlin will hope that this new infusion of manpower will plug gaps in the front lines and restore Russian offensive capabilities. Zelensky's visit to the American capital. The talks in Washington showed that neither the administration nor Zelensky are ready for peace, Antonov said. Focus is on war, on the death of ordinary soldiers, on further tying the Ukrainian regime to the needs of Washington. Ukrainian officials and many of their partners in NATO and the European Union have warned that Moscow views any hypothetical ceasefire or peace deal as an operational pause, serving only as a chance to reinforce and rearm for future offensives. Antonov denied this. The notions mulled by the U.S. media that Russia is not interested in achieving peace are a blatant lie, he said. The Russian position was repeatedly voiced by the President of Russia. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that all upcoming videos can reach you.